Hey! Well, greetings. Well, thank you for joining us for this video log, or vlog, where I'll be talking to my brother, the voiceover talent, Sean O'Shea. And you could be watching other videos, but you're not. You're watching ours. And what I want to say to that is to respect your time. This time in my video, I've added descriptions. Inside the description, I've added a link menu where you can choose what topic you want to listen to at any time, in any order. And then there's a quiz at the end if you want to take. There is no quiz. I made that up. But if I want to make sure that you get to listen to whatever you want to listen to, because there's going to be many topics that I might talk to in this short 3 to 5 minute video. But let's move on. Listen, I'm first going to respond to you, Sean, on the 3 topics that you had mentioned. Let's talk about your invisibility. Yes, I know I may be talking to air right now, but you say that you're there even though I do not see you. Well, I also want to add to you, although I have sympathy for you that you're invisible, or if you like to be invisible so you can steal stuff or go into other people's rooms and watch them when they're naked, I will say to you, I can empathize with you on the part where you're not seen. I spend a lot of my time, even with all this energy, and being available to talk to people where people would just walk by, or I could be talking to them and they would walk by as well. So I'm very experienced in being invisible while still being visible. I hope you can relate with that sometimes. The next topic is about the dry reading. So on the dry reading, also known as table reading, they're similar enough for me to explain that it's sitting at a table reading a script. And that script could be a well-known script like you mentioned, Jaws or Raiders of the Lost Ark. Now, first of all, my walls were shaking when I heard that because I screamed out loud saying that would be excellent. I would love to do Jaws. I can do the shark really well. Right. The music I could do, but even better, I can come up from the table and then pretend to come after the woman. Yeah! And then eat them. I'm a vegetarian, so I probably would not really eat them unless they were made of mung beans. The next script would be Raiders of the Lost Ark, and I think that I could probably do Marion really, really well, you know, or the horse in which Indiana Jones is on. But I want to take an extra look at that. I want to see the script because I had the script at one point in my hands, and I loved reading it over and over again. So. But up for grabs. You tell me what you want to start with, and we'll go look for it, and we'll do a scene or two. See how it works out. Next topic is... I was thinking about the name. We have it as Brotherhood 3.0, and that's fine. I like it a lot, especially if Brian joins in, there'll be 3. Not only be version 3.0, but it will be 3 brothers, right? In Spanish as Tres Amigos. So the what I was thinking of with that was the name was that right now there is a very popular organization for conspiracies called QAnon, and roughly I was saying, well, wouldn't it be great if we had Shea Anon, where we get to tout all the information that we know is true. And yet people don't believe us because the QAnon has a following of 1 million. Could you imagine we had a following of 1 million people? So the reason why I came up with Shea Anon is from that famous song from what was it? The Brady Bunch. When it's time to change, it's time to right. So I think the song goes. Sha-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-nan, sha-na-na-na-nan. Am I correct? I think it was. Sha-na-na-na-na-na-na-nan, sha-na-na-na-nan. I think you have to watch that episode again to relate. So that's just a tentative, a good idea. Maybe it will work for you. Well, I have other names, but we'll just deal with that one. The next topic is going to be a little bit more about politics. All right. So if you're here and you want to know about politics, stick around. politics. All right, so, and it happens to do with more current events. I'm thinking and reading at the same time. What I watched recently was something from Frontline. It was Trump and Biden. Because if it's still 2020 right now, we are about to have an election. And I really thought I can know a little bit more about both of them. It turns out we kind of know this other guy. He's the president right now. And nothing really surprised me. But the history of Biden sounded interesting to me to want to know more about. In fact, I want to use the word crybaby, but that's really disrespectful to him. He just happened to have a lot of tragedy, a lot of loss in his life. So even though he did not want to be that person, when something bad happens, he shows up and says, I understand, I can relate, and I want you to know that we're going to get through this together, and one day you will be better, you know. He became one of those because he had a lot of loss. I don't need to tell you the story because, why would I want to ruin the story for you? You can find out yourself. So that was interesting. Also, during this week, we also had an event with Trump's taxes being, I guess, exposed. Maybe illegally, maybe not, but accurate, maybe not so accurate. Apparently, persons who were responsible for his accounting did say that it was fairly accurate. Sorry about the jumping around. I'm still the turtle's moving underneath me. So, the fact was that he didn't really pay a lot of taxes. And on Facebook, our favorite place in social media, they were talking, the people who either follow QAnon or are strong Republicans and strong supporters of Trump, were saying, what's the big deal? And I really did have a strong opinion on that. Mine was, well, if we're supporting programs like Medicare, Social Security, the military, just to be very inclusive, other things that are in our budget, our money in our taxes goes to that. Why shouldn't the man who has the top position and is also the man who's trying to make sure we spend more money on things, why is none of his money going into it? That's all. I haven't found anyone refute that, because if he is an American, and Americans like to participate in throwing money into the government so we could take care of services, why not him too? $750? No, not enough. All right, but I'm not going to get complicated with it, because why would I bother you with you in that? But that was interesting. Now, not politics, but let's talk about Scientology. Why? Boring. To you? For me, still interesting. I was reading books about conspiracies, but I hadn't read about a religion that was so just bad to the core from the beginning, and yet it lasted for so many decades and still around today and destroying people's lives. So I wanted to look into it, and right now I'm listening to the podcast to it, and they are telling me details of having private investigators, people showing up at people's homes when they would leave Scientology and watching them and harassing them. And just said, wow, it really seems to me, and then the police wouldn't do anything about it. It seems to me sad that an agency like that, that's also evading the taxes, or I should say they're tax exempt, should never have existed, to be in America at least. But Scientology, that's all I want to say about that topic. What else? And that's it. And then stuff around the house, if you're interested in knowing about it. Now that the weather's the day's getting shorter, the weather's getting cooler. We've had a warm spell right now. I decided to still work on the windows. The windows are coming along just great. I got me just cutting, painting, and stuff. It's typical stuff you do with working on mahogany window framing on the outside of the house. Also, although I'm not convinced that wood chips are a good option for anyone, I put wood chips on the garden outside for Versha, because Versha is really interested in having wood chips, and we're using that as an experiment. We'll see how it works out. I don't want to go through the long list. If anyone feels I should start a podcast on gardening, let me know. But in the meantime, just know that wood chips are organic material, and that's good, but it also doesn't stop what you want to stop. Like, most people put them not only because they're pretty, but they think that it stops the weeds. It doesn't. Can also wash away with the rain. I can go on, but you know what? Not worth our time. Sean, I jumped around a little bit, but as you know, I have so many things to talk about with you, but I'm hoping I kept it succinct enough. It's only 10 minutes and 30 seconds. Sean, have a great day. Speak to you soon.